What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. You know, this game was shown off at Summer Game Fest. I actually think it was one of the better things that was shown off there, and while I've had very high expectations for this game, well, I've been pretty darn excited, and I think you see, like, the Harry Potter kind of fandom, a lot of the usual suspect, right, channels, including even my own, talking about it and kind of pumping it up. One thing I want to discuss in this video, let's just start it off by getting controversial, right? Let's just jump into it. The reception, when you actually look at it, is not good. It's not what I thought it was. Sitting over here, honestly, we're sitting over here in a little bit of a bubble, being in this Hogwarts or Harry Potter community. We like Hogwarts Legacy. We pumped that up as well. They show this, I'm live streaming it. I think my audience liked it. And I think, maybe the people that generally at first watch these videos like it. But you look at the feedback to the trailers, and there's two that I want to focus on. There's the PlayStation one. It's the same one, right? But it's on like the PlayStation channel, and then I believe it's on like their official YouTube channel. And I want to look at one thing in particular here, and it's the likes to dislikes. So you look at the WB Games YouTube channel, and it's 2.3 thousand upvotes to 2.5 thousand down. So it's about 50-50. It's not amazing. I wouldn't say actually it's even good, right? I don't know if you would say it's absolutely terrible, but you definitely can't say it's good. And then you go to the PlayStation one, and it's actually got almost the exact same identical viewership. 2.6 thousand upvotes, 3.8 thousand downvotes. It has been ratioed, and you look at the comments, and what I want to try to do here is address the criticism of it and address some of the negative comments. Now, I will take shots of my own as well by saying I really think, and we said this with Suicide Squad as well, the people that were able to play this game early, I think they've got to find a way to allow people to talk about this game, because this reception I would not say is all that great. And I think the reception to this game is going to be quite okay. And there's really nothing more I can say than that. I feel like there's, we talked about with Suicide Squad. Now, that didn't work out because the game turned out, at least in my opinion, to not be good. But in the beta or whatever you called it, where, people were not allowed to speak on it, including myself, I got to play it as well. It actually was quite good, and I think the reception from it was actually really, really good. And then you weren't allowed to talk about it for like a month plus, and then finally they let people talk about it. Again, did the game end up delivering? No, but it's the same strategy where I think there's positive feedback that is being shut down, and not being allowed to actually be able to talk about. So, WB, if you're watching, or, Unbroken Studios, who I think are very talented people, if you guys are watching, please find a way to allow people to talk about this game. But no, okay, why are people, so negative on it? And it's not to say you can't be negative. I'm not here to kiss anybody's feet or bow to, you know that based off me with Hogwarts Legacy. I just think this game is going to be better than what the reception is right now. What are some of the things people are criticizing? Well, one of which I think is they're kind of taking out the frustration of not having Quidditch in Hogwarts. They're taking it out on this game. Now, in some ways, I think it's fair to have frustration. Let me just kind of cut right to that, right? I don't necessarily think it's fair to go after a different game and say, you should have really put this game in that other game. We've talked about that, in terms of Hogwarts Legacy. Should it have had Quidditch, all that stuff. I get the frustration of it not having Quidditch. I get, when you're trying to live the life, of a student in Hogwarts, and Quidditch is such a big part of it. And, we kind of knew going into it there wasn't going to be Quidditch. You play the game, and then, Headmaster Black comes out and says, Quidditch is canceled for the year. It's not a good look. So I do understand saying, hey, we just got this RPG that wasn't really an RPG, but, it was trying to be one, right? And we couldn't play Quidditch in it. And now you make this multiplayer-only type, Quidditch World Cup thing, and, you know what I mean? Like, why wasn't that included? So, to an extent, I get that one. At the same time, I don't know how fair it is to go after a game that's actually doing it. Like that's the thing. Again, at the end of the day, I think we can very much criticize this game, and maybe we will when the game comes out, for how it does, how it actually performs. But to go after the game that actually is making the Quidditch mode, making an entire game based off of Quidditch, and again, there's not really more you can say than that, right? to go after them and say, well, why wasn't Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy? I don't think that's fair to this game and to the people making this game. I think the frustration is warranted, but I don't know if this is the way, you do it. So that's number one. Number two is I see a lot, actually, maybe there is only one other one, and it's the visuals / the style of it. Now, this one's also hard to talk about without, breaking things, so I'm going to be very careful, but just kind of be honest with it, right? I don't mind the visual style. I see a lot of people saying like Sims DLC. That's actually quite funny. If you look at the Sims, like when you're creating them or, any trailer, any game, yeah, the art style is, I think, very, very similar. The more like puffier faces. Look, I only know like realistic visuals and like cell shaded. Those are like my main two. So I don't know what you want to call the art style for Quidditch Champions. Again, I don't mind it. And I think really, honestly, it connects to what I just said. The biggest point I think I can make about this entire thing, and I would maybe criticize at this point, like looking back in hindsight, looking at the reception that these trailers are getting, I don't know if this was the best way to reveal it. I think, you reveal it once, and you reveal it so much as a teaser that you can't get anything off of it, right? There's nothing you can gather from the game based off that first, 20-second teaser, okay? Then you open it up for people to play, and there's a lot of knowledge there, and then you tell them they're not allowed to say anything. So you've shut up an okay amount of people, including people that are talking about your game. Then, when you do re-reveal it, a couple months before the game comes out, you don't show actual gameplay. That is, to me, if I were to leave a dislike, which actually I didn't leave a like or a dislike. If I were to leave a dislike on any of these things, why would you dislike it? It would probably be for that. Because I don't know if it's entirely fair to say, well, I hate the game, or I'm going to leave a dislike, or I don't like it. Well, why? Well, because of the visual style. I'm not into it. A game where you're playing Quidditch 24/7, the entire point of this game is that you're going to be playing the game of Quidditch with friends, all that stuff, right? To go after the visual style, again, I'm not saying you can't do it, but I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, that will not be the most important part to this game. The most important part to this game is literally the fundamentals, the features. How does each role play? How do they keep it going long term? Because that's something we're going to talk about leading into this game's release. You pay for it. Now it's on PS Plus for the first month, right? But you pay for this game. If you're paying for it, I like the idea that there's not, microtransactions or anything, but you want to keep the game alive for more than 2 weeks, don't you? So to me, and again, you can say, well, why am I focusing so much on it? Those are the main things. In my opinion, those are the main things that I would focus on with this game. How does it actually play? Is it actually going to be fun? Is it going to hold up long term? And what can they do, to add to this game to make it a game that lasts a while? Because that's literally the point of this game. It's not to come out and survive for a month and then die. It just like we talk about with all, I don't know if you would call it live service, but it's got the multiplayer, component to it where the game is not meant to come out and fizzle out in a month. That would be literally a failure. It's meant to last long term. So that is where I would focus on. And if I were to, again, dislike what they showed, or why would you dislike what they showed? No, I think it was fine. I liked what they showed. I think it kind of pumps you up. It gives you Quidditch World Cup kind of feel. I have no problem with it. But if you were to get mad at it, I would say the biggest thing would be, it's all cinematic, and it doesn't focus on the strength of the game. I think it focuses kind of on maybe the world and the different players and all that stuff. That's something I've seen weirdly, the comments saying well, Hermione doesn't, she doesn't ride brooms. What does she do? And it's well, that's a little odd. And again, you can't say anything about the test that people got to play, but again, I would simplify it just by saying, I don't care who's on the broomstick. I care about how the broomstick functions. How do you play? Is it fun to play with other people? Is it fun just in general? You know what I mean? And I don't know if that was that much of a serious complaint of people. It's oh, unrealistic, different roles. These people don't play the roles in the books or whatever. I don't know if that matters literally at all, because the point here is not to live your life as a keeper or as a, any of the, that was Hogwarts Legacy. That again goes back to, okay, I can understand if you're mad because you want to live your life in Hogwarts Legacy. Maybe you want to be the ultimate seeker, and that's part of your journey in Hogwarts. Well, then, that's why Quidditch should have been a part of it. I get that. In this game, they might think it matters. They might say it matters. It doesn't matter. And I don't know if they actually believe that. I'm just saying it. In this game, what matters is it actually fun to play? Yeah, you might say, oh, I want to see Draco on this thing or that thing. I don't think that will hold up long term. I don't think that matters much to people. I think what's going to matter is You're in the Harry Potter world again, or the Wizarding world. You are playing its most popular sport, a sport that kind of transcends things. And is it going to be fun to play this sport? Will it translate well from books and movies? Will it translate well to a game? That is the most important part. So, again, I'm not saying the negatives aren't warranted, or leaving dislikes are not warranted. You can have literally whatever that's my style, right? Love it, like it or hate it, love it or hate it. That's what I do on this channel, right? You can have whatever opinion you want on it. I would just say, number one, I am kind of surprised. I didn't think the likes to dislikes was that split. And I really think it comes down to kind of the style. A lot of people call it mobile game. Those are things that get taken away once you show the gameplay. And that is why, the more I think about it, that kind of narrative of, well, whether it's the visual style, or why does this look like a mobile game, or I'm going to take out, my thoughts on Hogwarts, I'm going to take it out on all that stuff. I think a lot of that evaporates or becomes a whole lot less serious when you actually show the game. When you're seeing gameplay, when you're seeing how each role acts, and I'm not saying oh, I know and you don't. I'm saying literally when they show a trailer one of these days, sometime in the summer, I imagine, right? When they show gameplay or a breakdown of people playing against each other, then I think a lot of the focus turns to the actual game mechanics, which may not be great, it may not be perfect, it may not be bad, it may not be, anything, right? You have to see. But that is where the conversation goes, versus now the conversation is just on the visual style, on the mobile stuff and all that. And I don't know, again, if it's entirely fair, entirely not, but that's kind of what happens when your trailer is like that. So, while, again, it got me pumped, I didn't mind it in the moment, but thinking back at it now, I do always, at least more as time has gone on, when a game gets announced and it's just CG, it's just, I would say that even with the Xbox show when it was State of Decay 3, I'm excited for State of Decay 3 to an extent, but my excitement didn't rise a single inch based off what they showed at the Xbox event, because it's still just CG. It's still just cinematics. I don't care. It's maybe just the part of my life that I'm at. I want the actual game, and especially I think it's because more and more people are figuring out, right? You can get lied to, you can get deceived quite often, right? When you have cinematic stuff, you got to see how the actual game is, and some people just reserve judgment entirely until you see that. And I respect that. And I think looking back at it now, that's what I would probably say about this trailer. I think it does its job. I think it got me pumped in the moment. I was so happy to get it back. It gave the release date, all that jazz. And it does convey some things, but ultimately you need to show more. And I think they're going to. They only have 3 months left until the game comes out. There's got to be a quick turnaround. We got to see gameplay, and we got to see it probably within the next month and a half. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.